You're listening to Forward Faster, bite-sized insights for entrepreneurs.
Despite advanced therapy treatments for leukemia and other types of cancer, there's currently no standardized model that can be used in a lab setting to test how a particular cancer patient is going to respond to different types of treatment. So currently, most cancer treatments are tested inside a patient's body, which for many reasons that are fairly obvious is not ideal. Sanatela Medical is working to change this so that oncologists can individualize treatment and get closer to finding a cure for different types of cancer. I'm here with Erin Crowley, co-founder of Sanatela Medical. Erin, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to start off fairly high level and just talk to our audience about what is the Sanatela Matrix and how does it work? How do you make it? Tell me what it's all about.
Yeah, sure. So acute myeloid leukemia, AML, is largely an incurable cancer. And while there is treatment available now that can get people into remission, what doctors and researchers know is that that type of leukemia often comes back. And so there's really an urgent need for cell culturing of leukemia cells as well as drug screening assays that can target AML specifically and look at why cancer's coming back, how those cells grow and develop, and provide potential cures for AML. So you asked a couple questions. So you said, what is the Sanatela Matrix? Mm-hmm. So the Sanatela Matrix it's a matrix. It's a scaffold that cells can grow on and that researchers can do drug discovery and drug screening on. And it's currently made. It was co-invented out of University of Rochester, Wilmot Cancer Center, and the Regenerative Medicine School. And it's made out of human umbilical cords. So after a live, healthy birth, the umbilical cord would be delivered to us. It's currently thrown out as medical waste. So it's de-identified, and it would come to Sanatela's lab, sterile, clean lab, and would be dissected, sterilized, decellularized, and eventually freeze-dried into a gauze that can then be used as a drug screening tool.
Great. So you said after a live, healthy birth. For people who aren't watching the video or listening to the audio, I'm pregnant. This is interesting to me in terms of, you say it's currently thrown out, but how could someone maybe sign up to contribute to, helping advance the Sanatela Matrix?
Definitely. We would. I appreciate that. We would love for more people to donate. So there's a consent form. You can speak to your OB/GYN or your hospital right before the birth, and you can consent to donate umbilical cords for research, which is what we're doing. Is we're providing the Sanatela Matrix for oncology and blood doctors and other researchers to use to find a potential pathway for a cure for leukemia and other cancers.
So talk to me a little bit about the competitive landscape. How does the Sanatela Matrix compare to everything else that's out there for oncologists right now?
Sure. No, that's a really good question. Currently, for tumors, there are tons of cell culturing products and drug screening tools out there that we would be competitive with. But those are made out of mice, skin, of the fish, swine, other areas, and they're not creating the microenvironment of the human body. So what's unique about the Sanatela Matrix is it comes from Wharton's jelly, which attracts stem cells. So if cancer, like Stanford and other institutes say that cancer is really a stem cell disease, then we need to be targeting and looking at cancer stem cells. And the Sanatela Matrix does that. It targets cancer stem cells. So researchers and oncologists can look at the cancer stem cells and see how they're responding with the ultimate goal of eliminating the cancer stem cell, from your body. So what the Sanatela Matrix does is it mimics the 3D bone marrow environment where stem cells live and grow. And that is totally unique as a cell culturing product than all of the other competitors out there. And that really is what puts us ahead.
And the idea, just to back up in terms of, the things, the human impact, right? Mm-hmm. And part of, what I said in the very beginning of this is taking the testing out of the patient and bringing it into a lab.
Right. That's an excellent point that you're making. So right now, in terms of leukemia, you would receive a protocol of drugs, and then they wait response to see if you get in remission. You might get a protocol again, and the goal is to always get you into remission. Sanatela Matrix gives researchers and oncologists the opportunity to see how your body would respond to those drugs, and lead into individualized medicine, which is really the goal for a lot of the markets right now, is to find a medicine that works specifically for your cancer because it's very unique to yourself and you. And so, yes, this test would be done in vitro in the lab. We would take a sample of your leukemia blood sample, test it in the lab, grow your cells, your cancer cells, and see then when they're in a flourishing, living, happy state, how then drugs respond and your cells respond to those drugs. And so that's a real big difference. And then the goal of it would be reducing the total rounds of chemo that you're getting. So I saw recently on Leukemia and Lymphoma website that I think AML gets roughly between 4 to 6 average rounds of chemo. I think within that first year or so. Don't quote me, but if the goal that we could significantly reduce that, I mean, that's a huge impact on people, their livelihood, their ability to go back to work.
Right.
I think it would make a tremendous impact.
For sure. So tell me, I guess, about the stage where the product is right now, where it's available, what's kind of ahead for maybe it'll be more widespread.
So it is available now. I say that because the co-inventors from U of R, the product was in its final form for the last 2 years. Prior to that, there had been 13 years of research on Wharton's jelly from the umbilical cord and the properties of Wharton's jelly and how it attracts stem cells and cancer-like stem cells to look at potential drug screening opportunities. We are currently in a capital raise. We're looking to raise $10 million. The first will be a $1 million raise we're looking to do on WeFunder coming soon. So pay attention for us, and I love everyone's support. So what that raise is going to be for is we have a manufacturing facility of 10 labs that are sterile, clean labs to make this. We have a team of 14 of us, all experts in commercializing licensing technology. RITs, female biomedical and manufacturing engineering students, have built and designed an incredible manufacturing system for us they took U of R's lab, and working with them, they've built and designed a full manufacturing system for us, which is awesome. So big shout out to Annika, Krista, and Victoria for all their help the last few months. So the product is ready, the design's ready, the manufacturing is ready. We just need the capital to get it kind of launched. And where we're going to take that as our goal, we have 10 labs that we're leasing out, going to go up to 60. And the goal is that we would provide enough product, enough drug screening kits, let's say assays, that could meet the need for all 440,000 leukemia cases that are diagnosed annually.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you have this capital raise happening right now, or
we're in the
coming
process
up?
of it. Where our pitch is almost together. Our WeFunder site is about to go live.
And if people want to find that, will you eventually have all the links available on your website? Or?
Yeah. Yep. SanatelaMedical.com. We will definitely link there, as well as our social media pages, and we'll be spreading the word. So.
Wonderful. Awesome.
Thanks for letting me chat about it here now.
Yeah, of course. So we've been focused on oncology, but what other medical advances does the Matrix enable beyond, screening for different types of cancer?
The Sanatela Matrix is interesting because unlike medical devices that take, sometimes 7+ years to roll out due to FDA requirements, the decellularized freeze-dried Wharton jelly, the Sanatela Matrix, is a tissue. And because of that, it's excluded from pre-market requirements through the FDA. So it's easier to market is why I bring that up. So it allows us to focus on oncology first, but create pathways for other businesses. So on the patent, there's other technologies that they've done studies on. So in addition to cancer, they've done studies on hair growth, skin regeneration, as well as bone growth.
Wow. Yeah, we're going to segue into talking about your team a little bit, but the hair growth makes me think of your father, who likes to joke about, everyone cares about cancer, but a lot of people also care about, getting that hair back, especially balding men everywhere.
Definitely. And again, because it's a kind of a quicker to product market, that going after hair growth is the very next phase they'll go into, as well as some veterinary applications. But yeah, cure, helping researchers find a pathway to a cure is our mission, but we definitely, want to go after that hair market as quickly as possible.
So I mentioned your father because he brought up the whole hair market.
Yeah.
But tell me about your team. How did your team get started? What's your father's role? What kind of drew everybody together to work on these important causes?
So it's a pretty kind of serendipitous start to the team. My dad and I are actually both Rochester boomerangers. I left for 10 years and worked for Toyota, and then came back and did consulting work that took me on the road doing ISO consulting, quality consulting to over 200 manufacturing facilities. So I was not around. I was gone about 220 days a year. And my dad is a lecturer. He's an attorney, but he's a lecturer and a serial technology entrepreneur, lecturing at University of Maryland and Stanford and a couple universities in New York. And so for the last 15 years, he's been lecturing, and he's been gone all the time too. And I recently got married and then had a baby a year ago, and it came to a point where being on the road is no longer an option.
Yeah.
And my mom was retiring, and so she said, "Mike, it's time to come home. Like you guys both need to be home more." And I'm sure my husband probably felt that way too. I hope. But they're really cute. They love each other a lot, and so my dad and I really started thinking, okay, with our unique set of skills and our expertise, what could we do together? And so we started a Advanced Technology Venture Center, AT Venture Center, which is an accelerator for businesses. And just a couple years ago, Midtown Athletic Club, in their Spirit magazine, ran an article about my dad and AT Venture Center. And one of the members saw the article, and that was Dr. Wayman Kaufman, who's from U of R Ventures. And she got a hold of my dad and said, "Hey, U of R has really an incredible technology. We've got tons of patents, and we want more opportunity to do more licensing and commercialize these patents more." And she asked my dad and our team to come take a look at their portfolio and recommended some. And so we went through a vetting process with them, and we picked the Sanatela Matrix, which became the Sanatela Matrix, which was decellularized Wharton's jelly. And, U of R and RIT and the local universities have just amazing technology. And shortly thereafter, we started pulling a team together, licensing experts, legal, HR, manufacturing, all the things that you would eventually need to accelerate businesses. And in this case, we decided to buy the worldwide exclusive rights to the Sanatela Matrix. And, you asked about my dad. He and I we get along fabulously. We both keep each other in check when check is needed. And, I think we have fun with it. We both are very passionate about what we do and enjoy working together quite a bit. And I think the whole team kind of gets a kick out of the two of us and our interactions together.
Yeah, as I've witnessed that a little bit, and it's a great dynamic that you have.
It's fun. Yeah, it's really fun. My dad always said, you have to be in a job that you love and you're passionate about. Otherwise, it's just going to feel like work.
Right.
And it's fun every day, and chatting over dinner and problem solving this
huge problem.
Yeah. It's fun.
Great. So when you found your fit, you've got a lot of passion. You can see that. You've got a great team. Your team is growing. You've got this capital raise. You have tremendous resources and technology. What about some of potentially the obstacles or challenges that you faced in starting this business?
Yeah. Finding technology is a challenge. Vetting technology, which we did with U of R, is a challenge because it takes so much due diligence and time. And so we really needed a team to help us achieve that. So, one, finding technology that's patentable and scalable that you can grow into, and our goal is to grow at light speed, is something that takes a lot of time to determine, is this the right fit? And we worked with Simon grad school students to also help determine that with us. And then, so finding the right tech is a huge challenge. Two is really getting a team together. Entrepreneurship and technology entrepreneurship is just a huge challenge. And to do it on your own as a sole entrepreneur would just be absolutely daunting. Like it's appropriate for some applications, but for this area where we're in advanced technology, you really need a team. So since we purchased the worldwide exclusive license in the early spring, we've built a team of 14 of us over the last 6 to 9 months, and that takes time, and that itself is definitely a challenge.
Got it. Then that is tremendous growth for that period of time, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
congratulations.
I think when you have a technology that people are interested in and want to partake in the cause, it attracts people. Yeah, it's interesting. Wharton's jelly is a stem cell attractant, right? And we say that cancer is a stem cell disease, and you really need to target and locate these cancer stem cells, and it tracks it. But I think the Wharton's jelly project really attracts experts to come in and help and work with us. It's been great.
So you mentioned before you're part of AT Venture Center, but you also joined NextCore, the accelerator. So and you've been here just for a few months now. We're absolutely happy to have you. Can you share what that has been like, what that experience has been like so far in terms of what you've gotten out of it?
So AT Venture Center works on licensing and commercialization deals specifically. And NextCorp is incredible. It has its own resources. I mean, NextCorp is just a jewel for our city. Like the programs you have here, the training opportunities, the people in the community is phenomenal. And so AT Venture Center currently has 5 companies that we are accelerating in all different industries. And Sanatela is going to be going into manufacturing. And so it really made sense to move Sanatela into NextCorp. There's just tons of experts that all are housed here in this incubator and accelerating space. And the synergy at NextCorp is excellent. We've met, even just today, I met another person who, has a PhD in cell biology and molecular biology who was excited about our technology. And we're looking at collaborating on different aspects to advance the technology. So some of the great things about NextCorp is, one, the founders program to talk with other founders about challenges we're having. 2, this podcast. It's pretty fantastic talk with you and be able to share Sanatela's story. And 3, Sanatela is looking to go into manufacturing, and U of R's relationship with NextCorp and is one in the area of Startup New York, which if people aren't aware of Startup New York, but for manufacturing companies, there's an opportunity that you could do if approved, up to almost 10 years of no state income tax, which is huge. It's an incredible recruiting tool. It's also, from the outside, it's an incredible recruiting tool, but it's also a great way to keep all of our, STEM grads here in Rochester and not lose them in the brain drain. So, yeah.
Well, good. So happy to hear that you've found a lot of benefits from being here. Again, we are glad to have Sanatela in our mix of startups. Any advice that you would offer to other startups out there, maybe that are a little bit earlier in their journey?
Yeah, a couple things. So one, if you're not an inventor, there's still lots of opportunity for technology. And so finding that technology is key, and, work with a team where you can vet that tech right and see what I said before about Sanatela. Is it patentable? Is it scalable? Is it the right tech to invest in? And then the second one is surround yourself with, ideas people and people interested, and create an advisory board and, bring people onto your team. I think working with others can really advance your company. And as an entrepreneur, you can really get stuck on a pathway or just a direction that you think is right. And so I think it's really important early on to bring in people to get other perspectives and, advance your startup yourself.
Yeah. So we've hinted at a lot of things that are coming up for Sanatela Medical. how about if you were to look to the future of, say, oncology
Yeah.
or regenerative medicine? What do
Sure.
you hope to see?
So there's a lot of players in this market already. So cancer is a huge market. Drug assays and drug screening that we're going into in cell culturing is a $600 million market, looking to grow to $1.9 billion in the next 5 years. So it's a competitive industry for sure. We are the only product that is human cell culturing based. All the other ones are mice and swine or fish. There are other types of product. And when you think of culturing cells and cancer cells, it makes sense to culture them on their own microenvironment of the human body, which is what the Sanatela Matrix is creating, is the microenvironment of the bone marrow. And so what we see for Sanatela is, one, we're going after leukemia and AML specifically first, especially it's an incurable disease. And that is our target right away, is to meet the need of every person who's diagnosed each year. Two would then be looking at some type of early detection screening opportunity to see is it possible to analyze and see if someone has cancer stem cells before cancer starts growing, and could we detect that early? We're looking and doing more clinicals in particular areas. In the areas of cancer, right now, Sanatela Matrix is the only assay that is designed for the bone marrow microenvironment. There's other ones out there that are tumor-based. I think as we continue to do clinicals and sell this product for research and investigative purposes, we'll see where we move into that tumor-based market too. So, one is definitely blood, two would be tumors, and then, there's a whole nother side of this science. The decellularized Wharton's jelly matrix is a breakthrough in science and a breakthrough in the way that you can look at cell culturing and how your cells grow outside of the body. So other areas that we're looking into are, as I said, from U of R, the regenerative medicine perspective. So studies have been done on skin growth, hair growth, and bone growth. What happens with Wharton's jelly is, say if you had a burn or a wound, you could take the Wharton's jelly gauze and size it and package it appropriately in a bandage. You could take it open and you could essentially put it on a bad wound or burn. And like dissolvable stitches, it will dissolve into your skin. So you don't have to redress it, which a lot of times your scarring occurs because you're constantly ripping that off. So this would dissolve in, and the Wharton's jelly recruits your own stem cells. So it allows you to start growing and recruiting your own skin back. So really the next phase is to sell it as a wound dressing and do more clinical applications in there. And then, of course, we talked about hair, right? Definitely going into the hair market. Yeah. And these would all be separate businesses. So we have Sanatela Precision Diagnostics, then we'll have a regenerative section of the business as well.
Lots of different markets, lots of different problems, and many lives.
We're building those teams too. And then I forgot the last one is veterinary.
Okay.
So cancer, regenerative medicine, but veterinary is a really interesting application because of, right now while we're a tissue and we are kind of excluded from the pre-market being a tissue, we still fall within FDA. But animals is a different area in terms of, it's not FDA compliant in that particular field. So there's already been really interesting studies on wound healing with Wharton's jelly on racehorses and animal application. There's lots of cancer screening going on with pets and your dogs. So moving into a veterinary application, we've actually, through Corp, met people that we think that will, joint venture on a business there together.
It's great to hear.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, there's so many there's millions of lives you're going to touch and impact in a positive way with the things that you're moving forward with. So very exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really exciting to be a part of a business that has such a potential on that social impact.
In many different areas.
In many different areas. I mean, you do have to stay focused as a startup, but it will be exciting to build those teams and say, go. So, at this point, we're ready to raise capital and get everything launched and just take off.
We'll have to have you back, so we can check in and see how you're doing and how all of these different areas are progressing. So,
love to come back.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to learn more about Sanatela Medical, you can visit their website at sanatelamedical.com. That link is going to be in the description as well. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.